In 1979, a miniseries would air. Now, this miniseries was based off of a Stephen King book, and it would terrify audiences that seen it. It was about an evil that invaded a small town in New England. None other than Salem's Lot. Opening shot of the miniseries, you get this shot of this church. Now, it makes you believe this is in Guatemala, but in fact, we're in Tucson, Arizona. Now you
just south of Tucson.
Now you only get this single shot of the building. Now we tried to line it up as best as we could, but it still looks pretty much the same, because your next shot is Ben and Mark inside the church. Now this is not the only time you'll see this particular scene, because in fact this is the ending of the movie. They're giving you a short snippet and you'll revisit this scene at the end of the movie. But after you get the shot, it goes inside. They're filling up the bottles with holy water, and one starts to glow, which you find out later at the end why it's glowing is because there's a vampire near.
And this is roughly the shot now. There's a little more sun glow in the background of the movie, but this is pretty much the shot, because you have the dome on the right, and then you have this column with the cross on it to the left, and then you could actually see a little bit of the wall in the shot also.
We climbed up the hill just a bit, and this might be a better angle of probably where they were when they shot it. But it's ironic that we're here as the sun's going down, kind of exactly like in the movie.
Yeah.
But just pulling up to this place, like it's kind of unreal. Like I saw it from the interstate. It's just like this big white beacon over here in the middle of nothing.
Yeah. You can see it from good ways off. You'd be like, oh, that's gotta be it.
Yeah. I mean, it just like stuck out.
It's a gorgeous view up here too,
Look at this over here. I don't know if you can see the moon over there, but the way the moon looks in that landscape, it gives me, if you took away the greenery, it gives me Star Wars vibes. Say that. It does. And this is our pal we met in the parking lot. He's become part of the squad apparently.
It's a she.
On top of this hill, along the pathway, I mean, there are sitting areas, and up there on top of the hill, you can see a cross up there.
Undoubtedly, just going off of that guy that was up here with us, if you go this way, it must circle all the way around.
Yeah, all the way around this little area right here and come out over there. But when you climb up here and you walk this hill, you get this shot, so it's worth it.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get closer to the actual church, because you guys have got to see the details on this church. You really don't get to see them in the film, because you literally only get this one single still shot.
Renee's going this way, so I guess we're going this way.
No, I was just looking.
Hey, what if they're werewolves?
So now we think the dog that was following us around, that's part of the crew that's now gone off in this direction. We've gone from it's a skinwalker to it's a shapeshifter, and now Kira thinks it might be a werewolf because of the wolf that looks like a coyote howling.
Oh, there's another one.
Well, hello.
I just got a pizza for all of y'all.
They all have collars.
No, that one don't.
They're all on an adventure. They're like, we gotta catch up.
They are on an adventure, because that's the way the other one went. We've gotten closer so you guys can see the better details.
I mean, as far as like churches in the United States, this is by far like one of the most pretty I've ever seen.
Yeah. Like, I'd love to see the inside of it if the outside is just this beautiful.
I mean,
the
the
detail
detail.
work on the front is beautiful. Even the wood with the big wooden door that's got the little doors built into it. Wow. It's truly spectacular up close.
I mean, when you see it on the movie, since it's from a distance, you don't get this and you don't expect it.
No.
We have officially made it to Salem's lot, but in real life, this place is known as Ferndale, California, in a completely different state from this church scene. But everything else was filmed here, not including like backlot things they filmed. So this particular scene is when Ben Mears gets to town. You see him pull his Jeep over and he becomes fixated on the Marston house. And it's at that point when he's staring intently at the house that he sees Richard Stryker come out for the first time. They have this like really intense, awkward stare down. Like, if I was Richard, I would be like, why you up in my driveway, dude? Because this is weird.
Ben would have been coming in the direction towards me, and he would have pulled over right here, just on the other side of this tree. Now, all of this in the movie is dirt. It since has had a sidewalk paved down it, and this fence has moved over some because it would have been closer to the road because he literally pulls right up next to it. So he gets out of his Jeep here and he starts walking, and he's going to cut to the house, but whenever it cuts back to Ben, he's taking a few steps, and you can actually see this fence right here going in this direction, and the driveway to the house right here. Only all of this is dirt, gravel, not paved. So when Ben stops and he's looking up at the house, this is the house he would have been looking at right here. Now it's kind of got a pet cemetery thing going on with it, because yes, it does look different from the movie because they built a facade around this house to give it more of an old, creepy, rustic vibe to it. Once Ben leaves the Marston house, we see his Jeep coming in this direction, and as he turns, you can actually see this building with the old Coke machine outside of it, and he's going to turn right here and pass by this Victorian Inn, headed to Crockett Realty. Ben comes right in this direction, and we see him pull his Jeep over between these two vehicles right in front of Mr. Richards' antique shop. He's getting ready to do a grand opening. So he would park here and he would walk across the street to Crockett Realty, which would be 248 right here. And you can actually see a Crockett Realty sign up on over the building. And as he's walking towards Crockett Realty, we see Mr. Richard pulling back the curtain, this side curtain right here, kind of giving a little peek, trying to find out what's going on. Ben is headed into Crockett Realty because he wants to rent the Marston house. Even though he has just left the Marston house, seeing that someone is living there. He's like, I want to freaking rent it. And Mr. Crockett's like, you can't rent it. Somebody already owns it. But you can stay just down the road. This nice little area.
The Marston house.
Is that for sale or rent?
It's sold. Might try Eva Miller's boarding house.
So he leaves, and he's going to come back to his vehicle where now Mr. Crockett is staring out the window at Ben as he's leaving, much like Mr. Richard has done earlier as Ben's walking towards the realty office.
Funny about the Marston house.
So after Ben Mears has disappointingly been refused the Marston house, Mr. Crockett tells him, hey, you can go stay at this other house in town since you can't get that one.
It's kind of like a boarding house almost.
So he makes his way here, and that one just up there on the top would have been his.
Like I said, that one's Ben's room. Now, it's a little movie magic because he's obsessed with the Marston house. And as he's typing, he's supposed to be able to look out his window and see the Marston house, when in fact, it's a giant wall of bushes.
He would have been looking that way.
But this way is actually in the direction of the Marston house. Can't see it. It's down the road just a little ways, but it is across from the house, I guess. So you get another shot of this when Susan is looking for Ben, and she would actually park right over here, walk down, go through this gate, and into that door. She reluctantly, she rings the doorbell, nobody comes. And you see an up-close shot of her hand grabbing the handle and opening the door and just making herself at home. And we see her go right on up the stairs and into Ben's room where she gets busted. But the color of the house is pretty much still the same, and even the pattern on the door, zoom in just a little, as far as I can get. But you can see the pattern on the door from the movie is still the same, and it's the same color. Now, it looks like the upper part of the door, the window that had windows in them, either they're blacked out or they've been replaced. Can't really tell because we're not going to go up there and trespass, but everything else is pretty much the same as the movie. Another shot here at Crockett Realty, which is right here, is when Mr. Crockett is leaving, he actually would be parked almost where this truck is. And Weasel is kind of sitting just underneath the window that would have been right here talking to the sheriff. And in the shot, it's almost like this. We can see this meter box in the shot. This pole of the building next to Crockett Realty is still the same, but right here is where that window would have been. Now it has since been taken out and boarded up. But when you get close enough to it, you can actually see this is where the window used to sit because the boards are shorter. But here, and it goes right up there and then back down just on the other side of this drain pipe right here. So this is, and Weasel would have been sitting, if this is the edge of the window, he would have been sitting right about here, right about where this terminal box is. And the sheriff is standing there, and he's kind of looking up at the sheriff like this. A little on the drunk side. He's fine.
He's fine. He's always got to find out the juice.
Yeah, he's fine. He just, maybe a little too much drink that night.
Oh, what's he done? Keep your eye on him.
and your mouth shut. Got that?
Ben and Susan are leaving the school. They would have walked right through here. Now, in the shot, this fence here is still here. And you can see where the sidewalk used to run right up next to the school. This wall would have been different, but you can see this door in the shot and the parking lot. There would have been windows here. Looks like it's been redone. And the sidewalk would actually go right through here, and they would cross over a bridge that would end up ending right where this bush is. Now, in the shot, we can see this wall here because there's a brook down here. And as they're walking by, there would have been a bush in front of this window, but you can see this roof overhang, and right here, it would say Holly Junior High School.
Hey there, teacher. Can I carry your books for you?
Do you have your car with you?
No, I came by to see Jason Burke.
You can also see in the shot, none of these trees are here, but you can see this flagpole as they're walking, so that some kids are here in the grass. And you can see the windows to this building, and you can see this flower wall going right through here. So the shot would have actually been, as they're walking, the camera more in front of them, so that you can see directly down this flower bed here with these windows. And you could get a better shot of it because none of these freaking trees would have been here at the time.
I'll just wait around and take a walk home. I won't do that again.
Hey, come on.
They would have got right here, this railing, back up some. This railing would have been different because the cement wall wouldn't be there. The bridge would have been on that other side. But you can also see this fence because they stop right about here because Susan sees Ned parked across the street and she goes over to talk to him. There would have been some rose bushes she would have walked through, but Ned would have been parked right here.
Will you wait for me here, please?
And once he gets mad and he leaves, peels off in his little Ned van, we actually see him turn and go in this direction. This is kind of the shot you would get of Ned leaving with the house and the Arlington Avenue as he peels right and takes off. He's mad. He don't want to talk to nobody. So as the funeral procession is bringing Danny's body up here, now none of this would have been paved back then, but they actually followed this exact road right here, and the hearse would have stopped right here at the foot of these steps. Now you can actually, the camera would have actually been right here in this spot where we're at, because you can see this little knot here at the top of the stairs. You can see this water spigot here. You can see these graves here. And then way down here, let me zoom in some. You can actually see this stone, these two stones, and then this one used to be solid white. Now, you can also see some stones off to the side over here, but this bush would have either been really short or not there at all. So if I move over some, so you can actually see this stone, this stone, this stone, and you can see all of this in the shot from where I was just at if this bush hadn't been in the way. Let me zoom back out. Now they actually would have buried Danny up here on this hillside. But this is a wider shot of when the funeral procession would have been leaving. And you would have seen all of them make their way right on down this road. And you kind of get a wide shot. You can see these stones here in the shot, a little zoomed in a little closer. You can actually see somebody working down here in the shot also. And in the back, in the distance, you can see the peaks of these churches. Although this one would have been white back then instead of dark color. Once they've buried Danny Glick and everyone's leaving the cemetery, they come out through the main gate here, and you can actually see the cemetery gate here, and you can see this mausoleum right here as all the cars are exiting right here. This is where Danny would have been getting buried. Mike would be here shoveling dirt onto Danny's casket, you know, filling in the grave site. When the wind's blowing real violently, he actually jumps down into Danny's grave and opens the casket, and Danny sits up and bites him. So this is general area. Now all of this you can't see in the movie, but we know this is the area right here because when Mike is shoveling the dirt over his shoulder, you can see this tombstone here. It would have been a lot more white. These bushes are shorter, this tree's shorter, but you can see this one. And then right over here, this bush wouldn't have been there. There's two really small tombstones. The biggest thing you would see, I have to get up over it, because like I said, these are way taller. But right through this tree here, you can see the top of a mausoleum. If you walk down here, almost slipped and fell. This is the mausoleum. Again, these trees not big and they're not there. But you can see this one in the background over Mike's shoulder. You can even see, I've been down here, just like this. That's what it would have looked like in the shot. You can see the door and everything in the shot. Just lots grown up since then.
Now the sun is going down right now, so who knows, Danny Glick may pop out of one of these graves and bite you.
I hope not.
But in all, like, for realness, carrying a casket up this hill?
Oh, more power to those men.
Imagine, like.
I would hope they would have put it on wheels, because that walk was killer.
Yes, this hill is so steep.
Now too, and again, I'm gonna have to walk around, but from this spot where Mike is covering up Danny's casket, burying him, if we walk around here, now you would be able to see this in the shot. Can't see it now because of the trees, but what you would get is a shot kind of like this. Let me pan over. So in the shot, Mike, you can see the chapel or the church's steeple would have been white, and you can also see one in the far distance overlooking the town. And that's about as close and about as high as I can get this shot. But you would see all of that from over Mike's shoulder.
In our next scene, they've pretty much figured out that the town is just not getting sick and passing away. In fact, the whole town is turning into vampires. That's not a good thing. So basically, everybody's trying to leave town. Ben has done told Susan, you need to leave. And of course, she doesn't listen to him and goes up to the Marston house. And so he goes and he talks to Susan's dad, and he's like, no, homegirl hadn't left yet. So Ben and Susan's dad get in Ben's Jeep. They got some work to do. They got to go rescue Susan. And first they need some holy water.
Now they actually would come out way over here, right in front of the church where the cemetery's at. They would peel through town and they would come right down this street, stopping dead in the center of this church. Now this church in real life has been here since 1899. It's the Our Savior's Lutheran Church. But we would actually see the camera lined up right here in the middle of the door with the Jeep. Bam! Right in the foreground. They get their holy water, they get back in the Jeep, and you can actually see this building is still here from the shot. As the camera pans to the back of the Jeep, like this, back then there's not a stop sign here. But they would tear off in this direction, headed to go slay some vampires and save Susan.
Father Callahan in there? No one's there. Blessed with his holy water.
Now, unfortunately, they would not be able to save Susan. She would get turned to a vampire. And she would actually be the one that tries to bite Ben. And he ends up having to kill her. Gotta offer. And this is a really nice little town here in Ferndale, California. And you know, most of our videos are done with lots of daylight. We're trying to get the best shots. We're trying to get some good lighting. And we kind of toyed with the idea of waiting to do this tomorrow or coming on today because it's very overcast. It's kind of misty outside. It's late in the evening. Very late in the evening. But I feel like it kind of gives it a little ambiance. I mean, you're talking Salem's Lot. You're talking about vampires, Stephen King. So what better way to do this film or do this video than to do it late in the evening under dark skies and mistiness in the air. And absolutely nobody out on the streets. Which it is 8:30, but...
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder because, I mean, like, everybody in the movie, like, disappears because they're all, like, either vampires or they're running. And we've seen, like, a total of 10 people.
That's true. Maybe they all ran away. Well, that does it for Salem's Lot. That does it for us. We survived. We got out of there. No vampires got us.
Or did we? Maybe we turned to vampires and we're going to come after you.
That's a possibility. I mean, I myself prefer to be turned into a werewolf. But I'll settle for a vampire if I got to. You know. Shout out to our VIP Road Warrior patron, the Crip Lady. Thanks for your sponsorship each month through our Patreon channel. And if you would like to be a sponsor also and help us out, head over to Patreon, Exit to Adventure. Sign up. Also, check us out on all other social media. Thanks for watching this video. We'll catch you down the road at the next exit.
Keep it spooky.